In today's video, I wanted to talk a little bit about how to do an average mesh inside of DesignX. This is an often overlooked piece of functionality um, inside of DesignX, and it is a really important one, and it is pretty valuable to certain industries. So the ability to do an average mesh um, is really valuable for these types of parts where you have gears, turbine blades, upholstery, seating, those types of applications, architectural components, legacy equipment parts. The concept is you're reverse engineering a part and you may select, for example, on this gear here, if you go to reverse engineer it, you may select this specific one because it visually looks like the most accurate representation of a tooth for that gear, but that might be the worst one, or the that might be a damaged gear that you might visually not be able to tell, right? So the idea is that you can actually take this part and you can average all of the teeth together. So for a long time, we've had the ability to average multiple models to create an average model that's kind of like the ideal version, but they've extended that ability to do it around a pattern as well, which is what we're going to show today. So what do you need to begin with? You need multiple meshes, or in today's example, you can use multiple regions of that mesh. You can see that, or a single mesh split or copied. That's another option. You need some sort of linear or rotational array for the one we're doing today, and reference geometry for relations. So you'll see here in a second that we create a piece of reference geometry. So today what I'll do is I'll take this specific gear, we'll use these regions, we'll average it together, and then we'll go from there. So this is the gear model, and then you'll see what I've done is you can align this object to the world coordinate system by using a variety of different methods that we've covered in other videos. And then I'll go ahead and use that center axis to dictate the uh, uh, pattern, the cylindrical pattern or the circular pattern, sorry. And then what I've done ahead of time here is just created regions of all of the pieces that I want to use. So I basically segmented out these different teeth, mainly just by windowing in. Actually, let's take this piece right here and fix it. That must have been an accident. So I can grab, just to show quickly how to create a region, I can just create a selection and create a region there. And that'll separate this region from that one. See that? And then I can do a shift select and then merge these two together. There's a variety of different ways that you can do that, but I just noticed that there was a random little piece there. But I basically earlier just windowed in the tooth like this, and then you can use control and shift to add and remove from selections just to create a selection, and then click insert region to create all these. So now in order to create an average mesh, you'll come over here to the menu, tools, scan tools, average meshes. So if you turn off this pattern option, you can take like 4 meshes of the same exact part and just average them together to create an average mesh. But where this functionality is really special, in my opinion, is the fact that you can take a pattern of the same part, for example, the teeth of this blade, and do a average mesh that way. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create our selection of all of the objects that we want to average together. So we'll select all of the teeth. We're going to do a minimum deviation between them, and then you select the axis that you want to use, which is this one right here. So I'll just clear out the axis from last time and use it. Just select that. And then for the offset angle, based on this, you can type in, you could divide how many teeth by the 360 and get your angle here, and just type in 40 if you wanted to. Or the software actually has this ability to automatically calculate it by the selection, which it comes really close to 40 there, right? And then you can also use this refine alignment. So what that's going to do is it'll take all of these behind the scenes. What it's going to do is take all of these and move them about that axis on top of each other. And this will allow them to best fit to each other, then average. So you can turn that on or off depending on whether you want to use it or not. But this offset angle is critical. So you select all of your pieces, whether they're different meshes or different regions. Select your axis. In this instance, we're doing a circular pattern, but you could do a linear pattern as well. Um, then let it calculate the offset angle. You can override it if you want. And then once you do that, you hit next. And again, it's going to take all of those teeth and put them on top of each other. And you'll see that I have a messed up one real quick. So that should not happen. What I'll do is I'll just let it calculate itself. Maybe overriding the 40 is a problem. And then hit next. There we go. Yeah, so me overriding the angle was the issue there. So before you actually create it, you can actually see the max and min average deviation. So you could judge whether or not you do not want to average it, based on this information. You're like, wow, there's a lot of deviation between these two or these uh, teeth. You can come in and remove these if you want. So you can come in and say, I want to get rid of one of these. Maybe there's one that's worse than the others. You can visually see a lot of deviation. So you can trash that one. I'm just going to use that one as an example. And we'll go backwards and forwards and let it recalculate. So you get slightly different results there. And if you're happy with it, your deviation, then you can go ahead and hit the checkbox. And you'll see over here, if I turn off the big blade, here is the averaged mesh. So the idea here is that you will go ahead and reverse engineer the averaged one, and you will get a closer representation of what it should have been when it was manufactured. So if you have any questions or need additional resources, 3dsystems.com, geomagicsales.americas.com. And if you need evaluations, we can issue those as well. And I'll also have the example model linked in the video today for download. Thanks a lot for your time.